Bridget's a little bit of a hometown celebrity.
I'm just a girl from Lodi.
Welcome back to more Girls Next Door. Today, we travel to a mystical place called Lodi, California, aka Bridget's hometown. And guys, after rewatching this episode, it may be my favorite so far. If you've been following this podcast, please let me know you'd be interested in more Girls Next Door. Smash a like or subscribe button. I'd appreciate it so much. This Girls Next Door episode, titled Grape Expectations, aired on November 6, 2005. And from the Y2K Vault, I've put off mentioning this because it isn't a light or fluffy reference. But I think it's important to remember Hurricane Katrina, the storm that devastated my beloved hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana in 2005. Whether you were personally affected by the tragedy or could only watch helplessly from afar, I ask you to take a moment to remember those who lost their lives to the overwhelming force of Mother Nature. And let's also remember the people who stepped up in the aftermath. Military, crisis response teams, charitable organizations, hospital workers, and ordinary citizens. People you may remember seeing in boats moving through flooded neighborhoods to rescue stranded animals and forgotten souls. 20 years later, much of the city has been rebuilt, but the fear never fully leaves. We can only hope the community is stronger, wiser, and better prepared for whatever comes next. And in an episode centered on homecoming, I can't help but think about how fragile and powerful home really is. Now, if you're ready, kick off your candies, hang up your trucker hat, and silence your sidekicks. Let's get into Grape Expectations.
Bowling is really fun. We went on a Tuesday night. It was our second time bowling, and Hef didn't want to participate.
The door of a Playboy Bunny-branded limousine opens at the curb of Hollywood Bowl, and out steps Hugh Hefner, his girlfriends, and their girlfriends. Inside the bowling alley, Hef sits the sidelines, but coaches the girls with tips to improve their game. I will say this, by episode 11, each girlfriend's personal style has fully developed. All three are showing major cleavage. But Holly's wearing tube socks, Kendra's in a tank top and blue jeans, and Bridget, pigtails. Kendra, who has so far been portrayed as the athlete of the trio, serves some smack talk and boasts of her skills. But after rolling gutter ball after gutter ball, she decides bowling is not a sport.
I just don't think bowling's a sport. I think it's more of like a match. I'm not a bowler. I'm an athlete. What?
So Kendra starts the scene talking like she's headed to the Bowling Hall of Fame and ends it declaring bowling doesn't even qualify. Her "it's not a sport, it's a match" logic doesn't translate for me. I mean, what about tennis? In the next scene, it's about 4 a.m. at the mansion, and Bridget announces she's taking the girls to her hometown of Lodi, California.
Today we're going to Lodi because I'm really excited to show Holly and Kendra my hometown. My family's really important to me, so I want them to see where I grew up and meet my family. And I had to get up at 4 in the morning and start getting ready.
Now, if you remember, episode 4 was when we learned how strict Hef was about the girls' 9 p.m. curfew, not even exceptions for trips home. Sure, the girls are traveling in style, in a limo with a driver, but it's a 5.5-hour drive from Holmby Hills to Lodi. 5.5 hours in a limo sounds glamorous until you realize it's still 5.5 hours in a car. And that's without bathroom breaks or gas or the driver questioning his life choices. So realistically, the girls will spend about 12 hours traveling for maybe 4 or 5 hours in town. Think about that. That's the kind of math that only works when someone else is planning your schedule. Bridget, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, in a turquoise velour tracksuit, is ready to go. Meanwhile, Holly and Kendra are both openly miserable from the early wake-up call.
Because Hef doesn't really want to miss us. We were on a mission to get it done in one day.
You're the first one.
I didn't go sleep. I'm like, I might as well just get up and put makeup on.
Hef ran that mansion like a sorority house under martial law. Lucky for us, it only takes seconds of screen time for the girls to arrive in Lodi, also known as the Zinfandel capital of the world, which means the town's unofficial sport is day drinking. The town covers only about 13 square miles, and with its famous wine industry, it's actually the perfect setting for Bridget's extremely ambitious itinerary, including wine tasting and grape stomping.
Church. Not that I go anymore, but this is where I got confirmed, went to Sunday school, and all that good stuff. It did feel like validation to me to be back in Lodi. So many people have known how bad I wanted to do Playboy and be a part of this. I'm excited to be able to go back and say, see, I could do it. I did it. Oh, yeah, look at Playboy.
With the clock ticking, they waste no time heading to Michael David Winery, where Bridget's mom, sister Anastasia, and several family members meet them for lunch. Anastasia is still sporting the long blonde extensions from her midsummer's makeover earlier in the season. And I have to say it, as Cajun born and bred, I'm almost offended by the Zydeco music the editors chose for this scene. Zydeco in Northern California. Okay? I'm gonna let it go. For now.
I think maybe half the population of Lodi is related to Bridget.
How are you?
See you.
This is so cool. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Bridget is, this time, understandably extra emotional and overwhelmed by the turnout of loved ones. But Holly appears irritated, isolating and calling Hef on her flip phone at the table.
I don't go a long time ever without speaking to Hef. You know, we've been together for 4 years and we've never spent a night apart, so it's just second nature. Baby Puffin!
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Baby Puffin! Ugh, I wish I didn't have ears. With glasses of wine in hand, the group heads to Phillip Farms Pumpkin Patch, where they visit a petting zoo and compete in a grape stomping contest. 2 giant wooden barrels filled with dark purple grapes sit on a platform, each with a spout for draining juice into a measuring pitcher below. Bridget and Holly team up against Kendra and Anastasia. Taking their places in their respective barrels, the girls react to the cold, squishy fruit beneath their bare feet. Kendra is extra motivated. She's got something to prove after she tanked at the bowling alley.
We went grape stomping. It was a duel between Holly and I and Anastasia and Kendra. Oh, you're putting your hair back. Oh, this is serious.
I'm ready to dominate.
Shoot. We're going to win. We are going to win.
A stopwatch is set for 2 minutes. Ready, set, go, and the girls begin stomping and running in place while holding onto a wood railing. The scene is really cute and cartoonishly funny. Kendra leans into a strategy, squatting low and jumping up and down like a toddler mid-tantrum. 4 blonde hair buns bouncing in grape barrels. It's giving Looney Tunes winery. It's close, but Kendra and Anastasia take the win. In good sportsmanship or bad judgment, Holly takes a sip of the grape foot juice straight from the pitcher.
I wonder what Hef's doing right now.
The girl down here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Back at the mansion, Hef plays pinball alone in the game house. The contrast is striking. Bridget surrounded by family and warmth, Hef isolated in routine. And this is where things get a little deeper, because there's a real story behind this Lodi trip that the show barely explains. So I want to take a moment to reference an article from LodiNews.com titled, "One of the Girls Next Door Really Was a Girl Next Door," written by Trisha Tomoyashi. Now, Holly actually discussed part of this article in a bonus episode of Girls Next Level, but I found some sections she didn't cover, so the tea is still fresh. And honestly, it adds so much context to this episode. So the article begins. Saturday was a homecoming of sorts for Lodi native Bridget Marquardt. Sitting in the back seat of a black Lincoln limousine, she stared out the window as she headed down Highway 12. Although she had left Lodi more than 3 years ago, it was still fresh in her mind. So too was the sting of rejection from Lodi residents who don't support her or her lifestyle. The article goes into Bridget's introduction as one of Hugh Hefner's 3 girlfriends. It names Holly and Kendra and specifies their ages, and it mentions the Girls Next Door reality show. Then we get to the meat. Marquardt had originally planned to visit the Grape Festival on this day, says the article. The Grape Festival is apparently an annual county fair of sorts. It's labeled as Bridget's favorite Lodi event, which she remembers fondly from attending as a child. The article explains that Girls Next Door producers reached out to the Grape Festival to get permission to film there. And then we have the manager of the fair's response, in quotes. We're a family-oriented event. People will say that we're glamorizing the life of a Playboy girl who is one of 3 girlfriends to a man. What's the next step? She wants to come wearing a thong and walk around? The author expresses Bridget's disappointment and surprise by the rude comments. She then explains that instead of the Grape Festival, the girls made other plans, including a visit to Phillip Farms and a grape stomp. She then continues. But the errant thought still remained. Would Lodi embrace her, the girls, and the camera crews? Or would she be confronted by angry people telling her that she wasn't welcome in her own hometown? Continuing on, a section is reserved for Bridget's background, where Bridget's cousin, Melissa Nelson, is quoted. She was a very spunky teenager. She was very pretty, very valley girlish, and always did well in school. It talks about Bridget's college education and how her goal to be in Playboy magazine landed her in the mansion as a girlfriend instead. So after being rejected by the Grape Festival, which was really supposed to be the highlight of the trip and possibly even the majority of the visit, the girls had to make alternative arrangements for the day. Then the article describes Bridget's homecoming. A camera is inches from Marquardt's face when she begins greeting over 24 relatives and friends with hugs. It's a much bigger crowd than she was expecting, and she is touched by the outpouring of support. There goes the tears. I've got to stop, she says emotionally. It's happy tears, as she continues, looking up, wiping her black mascaraed eyes. Dave Phillips invites the girls to the wine tasting table and begins pouring them a glass each of sparkling duet. Welcome to Lodi, he says, raising his glass. The article continues to mention every stop the girls made while in Lodi, even those not featured on the show. So much of this article was Much of this article was brand new news to me. We learn that the girls went to Lodi Memorial Hospital to present a tour of the Playboy Mansion as an auction item to raise money for the hospital. The author describes the stares the girls receive walking through the hospital, but notes that no one stops them until a man named Marty Pastula. Would this be the confrontation Marquardt was dreading all day, the author questions? No. The article explains Pastula was there visiting an older gentleman battling cancer, and he simply wanted to know if the girls would say hello to his dear friend, Tracy Dawson. I've got some girls here that want to say hello. They're directly from the Playboy Mansion, Pastula said, and the girls walked to his bedside. You're kidding me, Dawson said, focusing his eyes on the 3 blondes. The article recalls each girl introducing herself and Kendra expressing her hopes that the man feel better. And then the piece concludes. As the girls walked out of the door, they could hear Pastula exclaim, "Those were real Playboy bunnies!" And Marquardt smiled, feeling a rush of acceptance right here in her hometown. So guys, I'm really happy that I sought out that article. Although I had heard Holly read a few parts, it didn't bring the episode full circle the way the entirety of the editorial does. So I hope you enjoyed that, and let's get back to the episode. The next stop is Bridget's grandmother's house, a modest home in a quiet neighborhood decorated with dark wooden hutches encasing hundreds of tiny knickknacks. Bridget's grandmother is a short-statured woman with a head full of tightly rolled strawberry blonde curls. Bridget, ever the enthusiast of all things spooky, wants to show Holly and Kendra a creepy doll she remembers from childhood. Leave it to grandmas to keep everything, right? The doll looks no scarier than any would piled amongst other vintage toys with painted faces. And after Bridget's mini family reunion, the girls head out to meet her stepdad at a cigar bar packed with patrons anxiously awaiting their big celebrity encounter.
Hi. At the end of the day, we went to Stokey's, the cigar bar. My dad, Jeff, really wanted us to stop by and say hello to all his friends. My dad owns his own construction company. He is so supportive of my lifestyle, and that means a lot to me. Oh, look at your picture!
Bridget explains how much her dad's support of her unconventional lifestyle has meant to her. And the always adorable Anastasia appears in an interview where she expresses how privileged she feels to have a sister who's a big star.
I feel so privileged. My sister, she's just such a star, and I'm so glad to be her sister.
Everybody wanted pictures and everybody wanted autographs.
Thank you.
Bridget eats up the attention, autographing photographs, cigar boxes, even a prosthetic limb. Seriously, the crowd at this cigar bar looks like every guy who has ever said the phrase, "I remember when Playboy had good articles." Kendra admits she expected Lodi to be boring, but she's having a time smoking cigars like a PIMP. The bigger the better, she boasts. And guys, I don't think this was a producer-developed personality. This was Kendra. So rough around the edges, it took years to see the shine underneath. Outside of the cigar bar, Bridget and the girls must say their goodbyes. And after reading that article, Bridget's tears hit differently. She wasn't just leaving town, she was leaving validation. And I'm much more forgiving of Bridget's overdose of emotion in this episode. This wasn't just a day trip back home, it was a day triumph. As the girls speed away from Lodi in their limousine, we cut to the mansion where routine marches on. Hef is hosting a dinner and movie night. In confessional, Holly makes a remark about some of the scandalous women that she fears may try to seduce Hef when she's gone.
Where are my girls?
You know, there's some scandalous girls that come up to the mansion and want to do anything to get Hef's attention.
You probably want to cozy up, don't you?
In the mansion, the scene focuses on ex-girlfriend Stacy Burke as she gets cozy beneath a blanket in the media room. From the limo, Holly frantically attempts to make several calls to Hef, but they're all disconnected before she's patched through. Holly has since cleared up the undertones of this scene, so there's no sense in analyzing the perceived drama. She stated that she was not concerned of Hef's wandering ways, and Stacy definitely wouldn't have been a culprit. She was a good friend to all the girlfriends. Holly's even revealed that many of the Girls Next Door scenes that portray her being jealous or suspicious of Hef hanging with other women were contrived by her, solely for the purpose of good TV. I don't know, guys. Do we believe her on that? I really don't know. Regardless, all is well when the girls arrive back to the mansion. Hef welcomes them home warmly, and it's lights out after a grueling road trip, but wholesome homecoming for Bridget. And, this episode really surprised me. On the surface, it's silly, grape stomping, cigars, baby voices. But underneath, it's a story about home, rejection, identity, and acceptance. Bridget needed that win in Lodi, and maybe we all do at some point, to go back to where we started and feel seen. We don't get another hometown episode until season 2, when the girls and Hef drive to Kendra's mother's condo in San Diego. If you think you'd stick around for that, please let me know. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Is there a little thumbs up or a heart icon you can click? Such a simple thing, but makes a big difference, especially if you'd like more Girls Next Door episodes. And I'd love to chat with you, so meet me in the comments section. If you're on Spotify, just scroll down a little below the audio player and there it is. Tell me, what was your take on the girls' visit to Lodi? I liked hearing about them stopping by Lodi Memorial and how they made that man's day. 3 busty blonde bunnies appearing in his hospital room. What did you think of the article? Do you feel like it added context to the episode or depth to Bridget? She must have been wrecked when the festival turned them away. Thank you so much for listening today, and join me next time for the Girls Next Door press tour in New York. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, a lot. I love you guys. See you next time.
The bricks.